Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and ghouls. My name is Alex. I'm a game developer, and today we're going to be talking about why Welcome to the Games and anything made by Reflex Studios is so scary. Because since Reflex Studios is no longer producing horror games, I thought I should talk about why they do it, why it's so scary. Now, what they do with it is they are very good at causing the shock factor. What Adam does is he puts you on something that requires mild concentration, such as the keys. You search the keys. That requires a decent amount of concentration, because you have to look for keys. You have to look where they could be. You have to search through different sites. Now he combines that element with the jump scare element. What happens there is it pulls you away from what you're looking for. It pulls you away from that and shocks you into being scared of what it is coming at you. You can do it with a lot of things. As long as someone is having mild concentration, like I know when I'm at my computer and I'm really focusing on something and someone goes and taps my shoulder, I will jump. No question about it. Solely because I am being broken from my concentration to a different subject. It only because they do it a lot because they have a lot larger concentration, such as solving those case files, and scrutinize takes a lot of paying attention to it if you don't know what you're doing beforehand. It's very good at, the other thing I want to talk about for it is it's very good at producing suspense. It does with the audio cues that don't mean anything, like the walking, the tapping, the bushes rustling. Well, the bushes rustling means something, but the bushes rustling, all that jazz. Once you hear that, it kind of builds up tension, because you know something's going to be happening if you've played it before. You know it's going on. It's going to happen eventually. You just don't know when. And those audio cues are stuff that typically would scare you if you were in a safe place like your house. Like if you were alone at home and you hear footsteps walking about, that's a problem and you should get that looked at. But it combines the use of audio cues to build tension and a build-up, and then it releases that build-up with its jump scare, which has the shock factor of being broken out of your computer and it's somewhat into a new place. That's what I find really fascinating about it. It's very good at doing that, and very good at keeping your concentration and causing mild panic. A lot of people will say it's not really a horror game because it's mostly jump scare based. I say otherwise because it does a lot with suspense. It's not primarily focused on its jump scares. The jump scares are a part of it, but it backs them up with ambience cues and tension building, like Until Dawn. Until Dawn is probably the best explanation I can think of here. Until Dawn, it has its version of ambience noises is the music. You'll know a jump scare is coming if you're paying attention to it by the music. The music will either get higher or louder, and then it'll jump scare you. Now, Until Dawn is considered one of the best or a very good horror game. Not the best. The best happens to be Outlast, but Outlast is scary because of concepts, which brings me to my third thing about Reflex Studios games, the concepts. The concepts for Reflex Studio games are absolutely terrifying, if you think about it. Like, everything you see in Reflex Studios has the potential and possibility of actually being real. That's the thing. Granted, there are a few things that aren't real, like you can't put videos through a deep web browser. That's hard. Like, there's not enough stuff for that. But it's a lot of those other stuff, like the websites and stuff, have quite a possibility of being real and existing in our world in some sort of form. Now, what's really cool is also the concept behind the threats. I mean, these are all real-world threats. They could possibly happen to anyone. Like, serial killers are out there, kidnappers are a thing. It could all circle back to you. And I find it mildly terrifying that he managed to perfectly capture, or not perfectly capture, but take something that could happen as a problem that we have and encompass it within a game, and then have that game be hard. So there's a lot of aspects of horror that he puts into there. Now, I'm a firm believer that horror games can still be horror games if they use jump scares, but only if they use it right. Like, I wouldn't consider Five Nights at Freddy's a horror game. It's more of a story-based game. Granted, if you go farther into it and read more of the lore, it starts to become more of a horror game. But that's only if you're looking for it. If you're not looking for it, then it's just a standard game that's mildly difficult. Now, Welcome to the Game is part of the horror genre for my things because it uses a lot of jump scares, yes, which doesn't make up a horror game. Jump scares are an association tool. You kind of take it and use it on the side. Now, it combines the stuff. It combines with jump scares with ambient noises. It's really, really nice music when you get killed. If you haven't noticed that, it's a really sharp tang up, which is really nice and very good to throw. And it combines the fact that you could use a lot of things in it. Like, everything has the potential of being a real out there. It's very realistic and possibly, granted, some of them are over-exaggerated quite a bit, but there is still a chance that they could be out there because not many people go and search the deep web these days. I don't know. I just want to talk about that. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.